Good evening, everyone. We're on to the 43rd episode of the story of Harold Davidson, the priest. This is the Priest Legacy for Cultist Simulator. Priest Legacy is DLC, sorry. So we've got 4 lock scars now. We've got 1 health, and we are trying to recover some decrepitude. In this case, we gave up the xanthotic essence in order to be able to do that. Of course, if it fails, I will just be very sad. We are going to need to think a little bit about how we need to think a bit about how we can get rid of the, or how we can get some more health. But before that, we're a bit lucky now in that we've got a season of suspicion coming up. But what I really need to start thinking about is how am I going to get my dread under control? Because we are 10 seconds away from having 3 dread on the table, and that means if a season of despair comes up, we're sunk. This is enough to lose a game on. So what we're actually going to start doing is we're going to go through the Stag Door, and I'm going to try and get me some fascination. The Stag Door is the Adept's Gate. To pass it is to be initiated into the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The head Gearby weeps to see me enter where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred valves at the door grind open. Now we're probably going to get hit by the season of suspicion, but again, that's less of a threat to me right now. I've got a raw prophet that can handle it. I prepared the text for study. Now, I think just because I don't have a clear idea of which ones are going to generate fascination, which ones are going to generate dread, for the time being, I'm going to content myself with reading some texts and or translating some text. We'll read them later when I'm in a little less danger. So, the Book of Thrones, a legend of the Shadowless Empire, transcribed by Alexander Peterhans from Annals at a Secret Shrine in Anatolia. Lock the study door, the work begins. Alright. 12 seconds on the season of suspicion, so we're definitely going to get the notoriety picked up. A portrait of a genially smiling man, dark skin, bright eyes, neither hair nor eyebrows, watches over the ruined library. It is titled "Don't Mind Me" and signed with an indecipherable serpentine scrawl. The paint is peeling. It watches us with its benevolent smile as we find intact treasures among the swollen books on the shelves. So, thank you, Pope Clifton. Thank you, Percussagant. There's the notoriety. Percussagant 2, Raw Prophet, which will help us with our with the evidence when the time comes. We now have The Burning Woman, a transcription of the play by Menander the Victor, possibly the dramatist of that name into Frisian, with commentaries. Next up, The Iron Book. Actually, let's read the text after we're done translating. The Encircling Tantra. So that one's gonna definitely want to give some priority to knock works. Matthias and Amethyst Imago Pursuit, the Silver Book, and finally the Known Unknown Tantra. So certainly a lot to keep us occupied with the study verb when the time comes. I am slightly tempted to mess around with my percussagants here, but let's go to the Cave of Candles. We will use them on the expedition. Raw Prophet's going to work on evidence, and we'll fill up the ranks as we can. Every 7th sunset, the cunning man... actually... There is a small argument to use the explore verb for something else, but it would make me lose my summons. And we're really close to finishing off our journeys here. So, every 7th sunset, the cunning man comes from the village below to renew the candles. The floor of the entrance chamber is a slick of stinking wax. He claims the light keeps the creature below cowed, but more likely the sacrifices he brings keep it too sated to emerge. So in this case, we'll just add the pair of percussagants and some funds to get us through. The ascent to the cave through the high passes will be dangerous. Whatever waits in the darkness below is probably more dangerous still. So I suspect this is going to be one where we need forge and knock. But go to war with the army we have, so... And let's just accept reality. Can't add the raw profit. I do want to minimize the... Actually... Yeah, no, we can still bring the Society of the Holy Wound. Because there's still a minute that goes by here. The expedition continues. Our expedition plans for the next challenge. It'll consume funds. I could add funds now, or I could send another follower. So, as predicted, winter will also help us, but both of these are not going to help us at the moment. I'm not actually keeping the raw profit. I'm just adding it to help temporarily. I'm ready to improve. The Painted River runs from a great chamber near the White Door, far through the Mansus, to its far edge, where it enters a painted delta of far cloud. I voyaged half its length last night, with a stern-faced captain beneath a rust-red sail. As the clouds rose before us, the sailors raised a yearning shanty and close-hauled the sails to best use the painted wind. And all the while, the captain and I discoursed on the secrets of the House of the Sun. So I have a couple of ideas here. So first of all, we've got a fascination. So I have been renewed with flame, tempered with blood. My flesh is strong again, but the forge's radiance has dazzled my soul, and people will talk. Decrepitude has been transformed back to health, but you've gained fascination and notoriety. So let's find the youngest dread. We will, other way around. Mellow the fascination with dread. The doors of vision swing wide. A little darkness will mellow my light. Even dread has its uses. So in 1 minute, we'll get rid of the... Okay, season of sickness coming up. So under ideal circumstances, I would actually have a chat with one of the percussagants about my health, but unfortunately, I threw both of them into the expedition, so no luck there. Let's think a bit about... I think what I'm going to do here is a painting, but I'm actually going to do an esoteric painting. I don't know if it'll help me with contentment, but it will probably get me the next best thing. You never know, this might be a living. So we will use the formula concursit as our inspiration. Those who know will understand, as will the Suppression Bureau. It's always kind of funny. It talks about those who know will understand, but we never actually exhibit the painting. So it does invite the question as to how the notoriety is generated, but let's not look too closely. I prepared the text for study. So again, we're just translating right now in order. We're kind of on the path to solving this problem, but let's just mind our business and do the work. So, the Twin Serpent Tantra, a Tantra shrouded in particular obscurity. Lock the study door, the work begins. The high passes. Savage peaks scar the sky. Oh, darn it. I really bungled now. So, if the evidence comes out, this raw profit's locked into the journey for the long haul. Well, that's what I get for trying to be too clever. Colors of the night. I could spend money on better paints, or perhaps I could find more exotic pigments. So, optimism is a spice which saves. And here we will use the Refulgen. Let's get Clovette back on the notoriety task. So the dread's more or less taken care of at this point. My assumption here is that we'll get fascination from the painting. But I actually don't know for sure, so... Furious echoes. Rock slides and avalanches drive us back. We'll try another route if we survive. Okay, season of vision, so I do want to be careful about the fascination if I do get it. This will show to best advantage in utter darkness, like us all. I made something unique, something extraordinary, something I will never dare to exhibit publicly. This cannot possibly ever see daylight. It will earn no funds. And I'm safe for now. My adversary has not enough evidence to bring a case against me, and they found no new clues. Alright, well, lucky me. The air is curdled now. I'm home again in this lumpen flesh. Better, perhaps. So we'll definitely wait the 1.3 seconds, because this is going to have some... I definitely want to make sure I get rid of the fascination at this point. Okay, so there's a contentment for the dread if I need it. Oh, the intensity of radiance is actually one of the thornier ones for me to deal with. So that means I'll get fascination, but I'll get it at an inconvenient time. And the door in the eye. He came from the glory we cannot help but see. Okay, let's think about what I'm going to do for the... I think most of the rituals I would do with the lantern aren't really going to help me here. So lantern is the principle of the secret place sometimes called the House of the Sun and of the light above it. If I add knock, I might be able to attempt a summoning. If I add edge, I can try to conquer my passion with reason. If I add winter, I can attempt a foolish, beautiful magic. So I do not want to attempt the foolish, beautiful magic because that usually does not end well for me. I could use some money, to be honest, but that's kind of working at cross purposes with what I'm doing with Clovette. So you know what? Let's just spike that. I am short the... I am short the 1 reputation, but there's an easy fix for that. So we'll throw 3 notoriety in. I'll add the 1 passion for now. You never know, this might be living. And I'm actually going to use the intensity of radiance as an inspiration. And I'm going to... So I'm not using the dream slot, but there's a reason for that. Prepared the text for study. Now, as an aside, we do have the Season of Sickness, so I'm going to study my health in order to get the vitality. Long walks kill cobwebs. Our numbers dwindle. Alright, that's a percussivant down, and that's going to have the nice side effect of giving me a vitality in a little while, so could be worse. But we do need to get past the high passes, so we will add Tristan to bolster our numbers, and at this point we will add Enid to help with the younger sister. Colors of the Night, I could spend money on better paints, or perhaps I could find more exotic pigments. In this case, we'll pay some cash because we do want to generate some money out of this. And again, I don't want to work on my reputation right now, so... In fact, I want to do bad things. Significant conversations in a smoky reading room. What do I need from my follower? Seduce a stranger. A sufficiently persuasive disciple can probably lure a susceptible companion back to us. And it is banished or destroyed. Alright, so this is as long as I could wait. Well, there's a longer time then, but this is enough. Mountaineer's Road. Our forge skills represent plenty of expertise. We'll almost certainly make it through. And this illness has damaged my health. I will need to rest before I'm fully recovered. Carry a reflection with funds or vitality. Okay, so we'll need an extra funds. We'll get that out of the way right now. Good work. This is work I can be proud of. With enough publicity, it will sell. Alright, so we still have the intensity of radiance. We've got a mystique for our trouble. 2 mystique for our trouble. No staleness. And 4 funds. Good. Season of Despair. So we don't need to worry about that anymore. What I am going to do, though, is another painting. And this time it's Notoriety and Mystique. And we can really paint whatever we want, but vitality would be kind of helpful here, so we'll do a portrait of Clovette. Something to remember them by, perhaps. So part of the reasoning behind the painting with the intensity of radiance, I actually kind of thought that this would generate notoriety. The other advantage was to make it unambiguous that the intensity of radiance would not decay into fascination at an inconvenient time. So now what I want to do is have a fleeting reminiscence at some point when this becomes fascination. That's why I delayed clearing my mind, because this is going to take, it's going to be a longer-lived fleeting reminiscence while this one is decaying. All right, I've neglected my studies, but I stand a little straighter. Obviously, we got the trembling airs. We weren't anticipating that, but we're more than covered for curing the affliction without funds, which means now we can start translating works again. And once the season of despair passes by, we can start reading again. So the Furious Tantra, as later transcribed by the medium and pyrotechnician Jacob Oliver Top Mugglestone, tradition has it that he found it seared in the bark of an oak by lightning. Lock the study door, the work begins. References to lightning aren't just exclusive to Edge. I believe there's also a reference to that in a Forge document, so I haven't quite been able to parse that out in terms of any specific significance for one particular principle. Honestly, I'm only going through the motions. The quality of my work will no doubt suffer. The sun still moves, the wind still walks. My journals are the labyrinth clue. So, only 2 minutes, so we might be testing the edge of the fleeting reminiscence, but we can use that as an inspiration for the painting. Speaking of, we can wait a little bit. Out in the night, my follower is whispering words that sometimes they might mean. Even if their victim knows the words are lies, they may not care. Alright, expedition's continuing, so we did get past the mountains. In this case, we are ready to add Neville. I think I said I was going to add Enid, but if I keep adding Neville, it makes it seem like I'm confident in him, so. My recent work has accrued modest fame. My paintings have reviewed well. Alright, so there's the Mystique, contentment if I ever need to get rid of the despair. There's the notoriety. Did we get any staleness? 1 staleness. So if I want, I can work with some passion, but I'm going to need... I think I should wait a little while on that. Speaking of waiting a while, I am going to... Oh, definitely want to combine the affliction and the vitality. I'm going to wait a couple seconds on the painting. My minion has returned empty-handed. Bad luck. I did get my 4th notoriety, which is what I was waiting for. So, should just take a second here and think, do I want to use my talk verb for anything at the moment? Do you want to be careful about the season of visions, but I think I can handle that. I do want to extend... Actually, I think the timings on this might be inconvenient for me. So here's what I'm going to do. We are going to do another painting. I am going to do a reputation-based painting. For starters, I'm going to add the newest Fleeting Reminiscence. This should have an impact. I'm going to get... Rainier out on this one. Sufficiently persuasive disciple can probably lure a susceptible companion back to us. So I want the intensity of radiance to have some time to cool down, but I don't want it to become fascination while the season of visions is running around. So I'm extending the fleeting reminiscence here. Next round we're going to extend the life of the consciousness of radiance. I will pay for paints here. Call upon the mother of ants, which ariseth from wounds. The serpent's mouth is large enough to crouch in. Its tongue is the thickness of a man's shoulders. But almost certainly it will respect the power we bear. Alright, moving along, we have now got The Burning Woman, a transcription of a play by Menander the Victor, possibly the dramatist of that name, into Frisian, with commentaries. Again, this is kind of the boring part of the text, but I figure once we pass the season of despair and the season of visions, we should be fine. Also, we are going to get a fleeting reminiscence from this, so it's not that big of a deal. But anything I can do to just sort of lighten the burden for my my mood, the better. My recent work has accrued modest fame. My paintings have reviewed well. So I'm actually rather happy. I was under the impression, for like rightly or wrongly, that painting with influence would actually result in a notoriety. So this is a really good way for me to be able to extend certain influences that I might find desirable. That's definitely going to change the way that I handle influence in the future. Oh, then again, this one was for the fleeting reminiscence, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, I don't believe we got a notoriety from the last time we painted one of these influences. So I am still going to do another reputation painting. I'm not going to expect that much of a return on it, but this is just so that I can extend the life of the consciousness of radiance. So we've got 12.4 seconds plus the time it takes me to make a painting, and so the trembling in the air is going to vanish. We don't need to worry about it. The sick room grows close and stale. It's time to get up. And in the meantime, let's take a quick trip to the Stag Door. I don't really need it, but it's nice to have. I could spend money on better paints, or perhaps I could find more exotic pigments. Again, at 2 staleness, it's not the end of the world, but I sometimes question the return on investment there. So it lowers its great head. Moisture seeps from its lidless eyes. Is it weeping? What does it remember of its eldest sister, whose power we call upon? And my minion has returned, attended by a prisoner, rendered docile with delight. So we can try to get rid of some of the reputation, but at this point I think we're just going to embrace our bad side. Okay. Again, we're doing the translations just until the season of visions pass, and then we can start having some fun. So the Iron Book, a manual of the Order Limea, an order of quasi-immortals who maintained a secret enclave at the source of the river Limia in the Roman province of Hispania Gallicaea. It's been a while since I've seen that. Light in the skull. Whenever the principle of lantern sheds its light, I may recall additional scraps of knowledge. My recent work is considered notable. I've exhibited the latest paintings publicly. Surely someone will buy something. Now, I didn't time this out right, because you can see we've got 12.4 seconds left on the Season of Visions, but only 11.8 seconds left on the Consciousness of Radiance. So this is really going to hurt the pocketbook, but we are going to grab our... Actually, you know what? In this case, I can do a passion-based painting on vision. This is daring the game to give me another fascination, but again, we'll have passed the trembling in the air, so we're good. A nest of lights. The tunnels beneath the cave are smooth with the great serpent's passage, and chokingly dark until we come with our lanterns, but the chamber where it nested is surprisingly bright. Luminescent fungi. Got a couple things to worry about there. Let's go for... I actually probably want to summon something, so we'll take a subtle rupture. In my sleep, I ran my fingers along the ridged edges of the Stag Door's scars. Our company it was that shattered it, Gearby says suddenly. Before the gods who were flesh, the mantis was forbidden to mortals. We were the first no. He begins again to weep his molten tears. I wish that we had not. I wish that we had died in the world. I've forgotten what else he said, but I remember the shape of the fissures in the Stag Door, and for all of today, doors will fear my touch. Okay, I think I might have a little cleanup to do here. So Thakic Invocation goes here, Formula Voluptuous goes here. Everything else is fine. No point in using these fleeting reminiscences. Those are dead to me now. So let's just go back through the Spider's Door. Spider's Door is always thirsty, always. The blood I have given leaks in threads and spills through the skin of the world. And the door drinks it, and a moment's satisfaction swells its opening until I can pass. It also occurred to me that I think with the formula concursit, we can move up. We're going to go through the door. And this time I'm not going to pay for the paints, because again, I think this is really just to extend the life. Oh, got another season of Visions coming up. This trip actually messes that up for me. The tunnels beneath the cave are smooth with the Great Serpent's passage and chokingly dark until we come with our lanterns, but the chamber where it nested is surprisingly bright. Luminescent fungi flood the place with Ersta's moonlight. Perhaps the candles drew it, not repelled it. So, thank you, Neville. Another intensity of radiance. Delightful. Actually, we might be able to do something with that. A little cache of treasures culled over the years from the Serpent's meals. It has nosed them into a glinting pile. Thank you, Tristan. Thank you, Laidlaw. The Raw Prophet's kicking around still. Got the Percussigant. And we've got an account of Kanishk at the Spider's Door. Got too many books now. The Ichor Vitreous. So I gotta put that off to the side for now. And The Sky, the Soul. So again, many, many texts. Let's start. I don't think we'll be able to finish it, but Grunwald's Permanent Circus, a tiny city of patched tents around a whitewashed farm. Hunched performers shiver in the dripping rain. Frau Grunwald has devoted her considerable fortune to the maintenance of this institution. Who knows why? The circus performers dislike trespassers behind the scenes. So here we will take the Raw Prophet and the Percussigant, and we will toss a couple funds. The circus folk will be ready to take up arms against us, and the power in the circus, we fear, may be worm-touched. So this is probably going to be a little tricky to manage the followers, but I think we can get through it. The Watchman, who is the door in the eye, waits in my dreams. If I learn the lantern lore, I can dream of this temptation, and I can advance my purpose. The need gnaws at me. So I got a few things that I need to deal with. I think the way I'm going to handle this is we're going to take the... So the influence that comes through, I believe we are going to be able to study to combine into one lantern influence. I will then take that lantern influence and get rid of it, likely with a fleeting reminiscence. I may let the restlessness decay into dread, I'm not sure. But I am curious to see whether or not I can actually pull that off. So we'll need to at least wait for the study verb and the work verb. Magnificent work. I've created something both distinctive and beautiful. Will very likely enhance my reputation. Okay, so translated the Iron Book. We'll leave the study verb open for now. Recent work has gone unnoticed. Nothing is sold. Perhaps the work is its own reward. I hope so. So that's a fascination I rather would have avoided. So it's kind of a moot point. Like we're gonna have to deal with a fascination no matter what. If I upgrade, bingo. So I can't deal with it all right away. So what I'll do, actually, I'm just gonna see if the original plan can work out here. So we would need another equivalent. No, hang on. So I couldn't use this other end. Ooh, this is going to be a really, really narrow... Really narrow thread. I do have some fancy footwork I can do to get through it. It is going to be the cliffhanger that we end on, but let's get things underway. So, first priority I need to deal with, we need to get rid of the fascination and the consciousness of radiance before we get hit by the Season of Visions. So, for starters, fascination, consciousness of radiance, lantern lore, moth. My bad. Oh yeah, of course, because fascination is not lantern, it is restlessness. The glory is a question, and the moth always answers yes. Okay, moving right along. This isn't necessarily going to help my staleness, but at this point, I'm just trying to stay above water. This should have an impact. New colors. I have begun to notice colors in the world for which I have no name. Oh dear, the moment of consequence. Now potencies and potentialities align. Glory is a question, and the moth always answers yes. So now I've got the intensity of radiance. I've got 2 intensity of radiance. Let's paint the restlessness. Ah, right, yes, okay, now I see it. Where mirrors cross, where shadows part, where the sun's golden blood pools thickest. So I'm assuming here we're going to get a fascination. And now the season of visions arrives. And on that note, we are going to wrap it up. So you can kind of, I mean, it wasn't that much of a cliffhanger in the end anyway. But I didn't realize that you could actually get the fascination as a side effect, but that's fine. We'll work with it. It is just one. Actually, what I could do. Yeah, so we've got a season of silence coming up, so I'll let the restlessness decay into dread. That way, we don't need to worry. Do I want to do it that way? I may choose differently in the next broadcast. Anyways, that is it for tonight. So nothing really related to lock scars, but as you can see, we only have 2 health, so I'm still not, we'd only get up to 6 if we used all of our health. And of course, some other questions that we're going to need to answer are, how do we get the hunger? And then how do we get the affliction? We know how we can get both of those in the sense of how the game generates them. But of course, you have to give up a health for both of those 2 things. So it actually implies that we need much more health than we really have. Again, I think some of you have probably already figured out where we're going with this. That is going to be the kind of the puzzle that we're working through for the next little while. But I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back on Monday for the next batch of videos. If you haven't been enjoying this video, you've not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. And it does help these videos get a little bit more attention if you leave them a like, or of course you can leave a dislike if I've deeply offended your moral sensibilities by playing this game of the Priest Legacy. And of course I do enjoy your comments. They do also help the videos get noticed, but it's not really just about what I get out of it. It's really nice to be able to interact with all of you, which I guess is something that I get, but hopefully you get something out of that as well. Anyways, please enjoy your weekend. We'll see you all on Monday. Take care.